very much. I am Elizabeth Ofosu Adjare, born Elizabeth Adjare Mensah some 50 years ago to lawyer and Mrs. Adjare Mensah. I started my primary education at Ridge Experimental Primary School, where I sat for the common entrance, and by age 11, I was on my way to St. Monica Secondary School, where I obtained my O and A level certificates. From there, I proceeded to University of Science and Technology, now Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and obtained a BA Hons in Social Sciences. Still following my dream of becoming a lawyer, I enrolled at the University of Ghana, where I read law and graduated with an LLB in 2002. I continued to the Ghana School of Law, where I got my BL and I was called to the bar in 2004, some 20 years ago. I have since obtained an MA in International Relations and an LLM in Alternative Dispute Resolution. Honorable Chair, I am third of 10 siblings, all of whom are ladies, and doing various things in the country. I am married to Dr. Lawrence Ofosu Adjare, and we have Lawrence and Lauren. In 2020, I was privileged to represent the people of Techuma North, and they renewed my mandate in 2024. In the world of work, I started my practice at Holy Trinity Chambers in Kumasi, a law firm founded by the astute Sir Justice Dennis Adjare. I rose to become a partner of the firm. I have worked for Legal Aid. I've served on a lot of boards. And in 2013, I was appointed Ghana's Minister for Tourism, Culture, and Creative Arts. In 2017, when we left power, I set up Elizabeth Law Center. And now, I've been nominated for the position of Minister for Trade, Agribusiness, and Industry. And I'm before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. We'll proceed with questions from the committee, starting with Honorable Stephen Amwa.
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations, Honorable. I'm sure for the President to nominate you, he's been able to assess your capability, and that element of meritocracy was key for you to be here. So I'm sure issues that we are going to raise here, you are going to demonstrate to the world and Ghanaians that the President did not make any mistake. My first question, I want to find out your position on 1D1F. Do you believe in that concept? How it has helped Ghana? Are you going to continue or you are going to discontinue? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's my first question. Should I proceed or?
You know, the question is 3 in 1. When you ask a question, you allow the nominee to answer. Then you ask another question.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. That was what I wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for the question. 1D1F is a program for Ghanaians by the government of Ghana. It has its pluses and minuses. For the pluses, the 1D1F set up factories where individuals could add value to our raw materials. And these agro-producing factories started, but because of some challenges, they've not been able to do what was expected of them. One key challenge I have been briefed from the Ministry of Trade is the fact that these factories lack raw materials. And we know that one big challenge in the agro-processing industry is lack of raw materials. So these companies have not proceeded the way the government intentioned it to be. Again, even though government supported them with some inputs, they lack capital. And because of lack of access to capital, they've not been able to do their work as expected of them. And if you look at the other 1D, 1F companies that signed on to the program, their major challenge is the fact that you recall, Honorable Chair, that government capped their interest rate at 20%. And government promised to pay 10% for them, which was a very good program. But somewhere along the line, the interest rate shot to 35%. So now the problem the companies have is who pays the difference of 15%, because they have already sold their products calculated at an interest of 10%. And one thing government has also not been able to do is to pay the extra 10% that it promised these manufacturers. They also have the issue of raw materials, and we know that issue of raw material availability did not start today. It's been there for long, and it has worried our industry. That is why our industries have not grown to the levels we want. So these are the challenges of the 1D, 1F, but there is always a solution to problems. It is good that it has started. Now that we know the challenges, how are we going to solve it going forward? I see the solution in the 24-hour economy, because, Honorable Chair, in the 24-hour economy, businesses are going to receive incentives. In the 24-hour economy, agribusiness is going to play a key role. And in the agribusiness role, we are going to do commercial contract farming. The commercial contract farming is going to solve the raw materials problem to a very large extent. In so doing, these factories that have signed on the 1D, 1F, I'm sure will sign on the 24-hour economy and get a benefit of the raw material availability. They'll get a benefit of the tax holidays. They'll get a benefit of the stimulus packages they will get. And I think that it is Ghana. These industries are not political. They are looking for what a country can do for them. What the NPP did for them, they have taken it. What the NDC will add to them will make them even better. So I think that the implementation of the 24-hour economy will solve most of these problems that the 1D, 1F programs suffered. And at the end of the day, Ghana will be better for it. Thank you.
Chairman, I have a follow-up question with respect to what our honorable member has just presented. Chairman, honorable member nominee has stated a couple of challenges. One, some 10%, if I heard her right, and as a other 15% that have been a challenge or have been challenges to 1D, 1F actors. And then she's saying that it will take the 24-hour economy to address those challenges.
Honorable Stephen Amwa.
So the question following up is that...
Very well. Ask your question.
Is that twofold. What will be the percentage of 24-hour economy to our GDP under your government? And how much have you earmarked to deal with the 15 and the 10% in terms of nominal values? Thank you very much, Chairman.
Very well. I will allow the nominee to answer the question, but I will treat it as a substantive question. Thank you very much. Proceed to answer.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the solution to the difference between the cap rate and the 15% will be to renegotiate these loans. Because as a lawyer, I've had the opportunity to renegotiate loans. Even though they agree on a certain percentage, the law can go bad for certain reasons and it will be renegotiated. So I think we need to renegotiate those loans. Again, I have instructions to work closely with the Minister for Finance to see what package will be available for these industry players so that they will be able to contribute positively to our GDP. I may not be able to give you the exact percentage of our GDP that the contribution will be, but I hope that it will be substantial. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. My second question, substantive question, has got something to do with trade balance. 2016, Ghana's trade balance was negative 2.3. As of the end of last year, which is the record we have, it has moved to 4.6%. We know our challenges are profoundly stemming from the fact that we have issues with import and export. And these are core areas when it comes to trade ecosystem. What do you have in place for Ghanaians to deal with these export-import issues where Ghana has been seen as import-driven economy? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the beautiful question. In order to improve our trade balance, we have to work on the production of raw materials in this country. I have indicated that under the agribusiness, we are going to do contract commercial farming, and it's going to make available raw materials in Ghana. If we get raw materials in Ghana, two things will happen. Firstly, our importation of the raw materials will reduce, and we know what happens to our trade balance when we are importing more. When we are, importing less. And so, when we have raw materials in Ghana and we import less, it will be good for us. Two, the raw materials coming into this country are what give us the problem with our foreign exchange. So that one also be catered for. Once we have the raw materials in the country, the essence is value addition. So when we add value to our raw materials, it will also decrease the number of the finished product that we import. So the import will reduce in two folds. The import of raw materials will decrease. The import of the finished product will also decrease because we'll be having them in country. With the 24-hour economy again, more production will happen and our exports will improve. If we are exporting more, it shows that we are getting more foreign exchange. Again, we have, these are in respect of non-traditional exports. We'll also be looking at adding value to our traditional exports like cocoa and gold, because since time immemorial, we've been exporting our raw beans. With agri-processing, we can process our gold in two folds, semi-processed and then final process. We can have the semi-processed materials by, for example, if you have cocoa, adding value to make it powder, exporting it for same to be used for chocolate or drinks. We can also add value to a finished product like chocolate. And so if we are now adding value to our traditional export in addition to our non-traditional export, you know what will happen to our export numbers. That is how I seek to improve our trade balance. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, my next question is not three. It's my last one, please. Mr. Chairman, I want the honorable nominee.
Honorable Stephen Amwa, remember you have a follow-up question. One follow-up question.
No, what it means is that you have a follow-up question on each question.
Also, I can ask.
Do you have a follow-up on this?
Chairman, honestly, she answered the question very well.
Very well. So your last question.
Yes. We all know that one of the factors confronting Ghanaian businesses, apart from the fact that we have, as described by experts, that we have weak entrepreneurial ecosystems, is the fact that Ghanaians as entrepreneurs find it very difficult to compete globally. I mean, let's be very honest. They always complain about Chinese, Indians, and co. taking over our businesses and even going to retailing, which is against the law. And we all always concentrate on the systematic risk factors, being the macroeconomic risk factors and also capital. But I think there's an issue with company-specific risk factors being unsystematic. What is this factor? What does it entail? And what will you do when we are talking about companies or entrepreneurs-specific risk factors in this country, apart from capital that they need? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for that question. Some of the company risk factors go to capacity. Most of them lack capacity. And so when I'm giving the nod, I will ensure that we build their capacity in this area, and this will go a long way. Even though you have mentioned access to finance, we know that this is very key. And so I'll be dealing with the Minister for Finance to see how we are able to make available finance for these companies to do their businesses and for the business environment to thrive. Because, you know, as a government, if you do all these things, it looks like you are helping the entrepreneurs. But at the end of the day, you are creating jobs and you are stabilizing your city and you're having a strong economy. So I think that this should be dealt with. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Chairman, thank you. I think I'm okay. At this point, I can only value you. All the best. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'll give the floor to Honorable Baby.
Thank you very much, our wife. Thank you very much. Hey, congratulations. Thank you very much. The Chairman, the concept of free zones has come to stay. I guess you know about it. And Ghana's practice of free zones has been extremely different from what happens in the whole worldwide. We are practicing the two-tier system of free zones where we practice the enclave system and the single factory system. This has not been good for the country over the period because Ghana is losing a lot. How best can you work with the Free Zones Authority to streamline the free zone system so that we operate only the enclave system, which happens everywhere in the world? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Free zones is the way to go if you are interested in our export promotion. And so I would do well to work closely with the Free Zones Authority to help them work at their laws. We use legal frameworks for these things to happen. And so if you are given the opportunity for single factory operation and the enclave is the way to go, our legal framework should be strict and good enough to take care of all these things. So I'll be working closely with the authority to ensure that we have the proper legal framework for this to thrive. Thank you.
So on this note, it is clearly, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that you know that the free zones concept and the law, Act 504/1985, has become very outmoded. I mean, it's not consistent with what happens in the whole worldwide free zones ecosystem. So how best will you also help in amending the laws of free zones and we're trying to review the laws to make it very relevant to modern day free zones and special economic zone system? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think my answer can be found in the previous answer I gave. Law is dynamic. Things change, times change. And so you need to change your law to reflect the current conditions of a country. And it's trite learning that this law is outmoded. So I'll work closely with the Free Zones Authority and Parliament to ensure that we promulgate a law or we amend this law to suit the needs of our time. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Elizabeth Ofosu Adjare, you are in the House. Honorable
Ofosu Adjare.
Mrs. Ofosu Adjare. Mrs. Very important. Our wife. So she's the wife of Koforidua, so our wife. Very important. So you were in the House when the former Minister of Trade and Industry submitted a proposal on import restrictions on 22 different commodities to the House. And the essence was to try as much as possible to help to streamline the systems. I mean, what we operate in Ghana, so that we want to restrict unnecessary importations of certain things that can easily be manufactured in Ghana. What is your opinion on limiting the importation of certain commodities to reduce the outflow of foreign exchange?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I know this has come about as a result of stakeholder consultation, as a result of evidence of practice. If I get the opportunity and I go to the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, I'll also have the benefit of the reasons why these commodities have been listed. And then I should be able to give an informed opinion after I've looked at the situation as it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Atamios.
Mr. Chair, please, it's left my last question. So,
please, this is the third question.
No, this is
if you have
it was
a follow-up,
so
if you have a follow-up, the first question was a substantive question.
Yes.
The second question was on the law.
Yeah.
And then the third question that you have asked is the proposal.
No, the second question on the free zones was a follow-up.
Go ahead and ask.
So this is the last question, sir. Thanks so very much. Honorable Mrs. Ofosu Adjare, our wife. Yes, very, very proud. The concept of the African Continental Free Trade Area has come to stay. It's like social media. Nobody can do anything about it. The interesting thing is that out of the 55 countries in Africa, 54 countries have accepted the agreement. And we believe that there's a need for us to push the agenda of intra-African trade. What strategies will you use to improve intra-African trade, taking into consideration the favorable conditions created by the African Continental Free Trade Area? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the question of AfCFTA. Fortunately, the headquarters of AfCFTA is in Ghana. So it is right that we must take opportunity and then do business. We need a lot of integration to do. Economic integration, trade integration, security integration, and in certain cases, we have to synchronize our laws to make the trading more interesting. And you know that if I want to pick each one and answer, it will take forever. But the fact of mentioning this will show you that I know exactly what it is. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on this note, I want to formally, on behalf of Kofodia, congratulate you in advance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's now the turn of Honorable Samuel Atamis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Madam Nominee, I know you do an awesome job. I have worked under you and the Ministry of Tourism, and I know you do very, very well. As the Member of Parliament for Commander, Edna Egwafo Abrim, I want to ask you about Commander Sugar Factory. The last government tried to make it into a white elephant. What has been your brief on Commander Sugar Factory, and what is the way forward?
Thank you very much. I've had a quick walk.
Nominee, you can proceed to answer the question.
I have walked quickly through the ministry by a briefing I received about Commander Sugar Factory. I've been told that as we speak, it is not operational. And one of the major challenges the factory has suffered was the lack of raw material to feed that industry and some missing parts. I've also been told that monies were released to solve these problems. And the total health of the factory should be done after an evaluation. And so I will work to ensure that we know the actual health of the factory. But it's obvious that we need that factory to work for the benefit of Ghanaians,
because we are importing about $500,000 worth of sugar into this country. And so once I take office, I will work together with the ministry to ensure that we assess the health of the factory and do whatever it takes to put the factory on stream by whatever means to ensure that Ghana benefits from that monumental project.
Madam, how long do you foresee that it may take for us to operationalize this factory? I have paid a visit to the place. Everything is intact, and we are ready to see it operational. So what is the timeline that you would give to the good people of Komenda, Edina, Eguafo, Abrem?
Thank you very much for the question. The answer is expeditious timeline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think I have all the answers that I need. Thank you. And Madam, you do an excellent job.
Thank you very much. It's now the time for Honorable Alassane Omar.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Nominee, congratulations.
Thank you.
Listening to you shows you will do a marvelous job at the ministry, helping His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to reset the agenda. My question is about the resetting agenda. In this, according to the NDC manifesto, what is your take on the amendment of the 2020 Act 1014 in order to encourage and promote businesses at Kokumpe, Kumasi Magazine, Abosorkai, and among others, which collapsed under the elsewhere Nana Akufo-Addo administration? Thank you. Act 2020, and which was amended. Customs Amendment Act. Oh, no, I have it. It's stated here. Oh, it's not.
Hello, order. Please, if you are going to refer to a law, refer to the law well. Please, answer the question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I am excited that I know the law he's referring to. I think it's that portion that deals with the importation of scrapped cars. In the 120-day manifesto of the NDC, that law will be reviewed.
This will be done with
to
climate change in mind.
improve the
It will be done with the new automobile industry also in mind. And so a quick look at all these interests will guide us into what will go into the amendment. Thank you.
Any further question?
Chairman, I'm done. I wish her well.
I will then give the floor to Honorable Ritana Odole.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I want to congratulate my GAN students. I call her my GAN student, and she's a very fast learner. Congratulations on your nomination by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Honorable Nominee, I want to find out, as you are going to the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, what are some of the plans you would have for women in the informal sector, as well as persons with disability in these sectors, to enable them to also have opportunities in this industry?
Thank you very much for this question, Honorable Chair. Fortunately, the Parliament of Ghana has passed the Affirmative Action Law. That's the Affirmative Action Act, Act 1121, 2024. The whole essence of the law, if I take you with the greatest respect to Section 1, with your kind permission, I read. The object of this act is to ensure the attainment of gender equity in the political, social, economic, educational, and cultural spheres of the society. With your kind permission, I move to 3. The government will promote policies and programs to redress the political, economic, and educational gender imbalance in the public and private sectors. It is the dream of Excellency John Dramani Mahama to implement the Affirmative Action Act. There is going to be a policy on women at the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. The whole idea is to promote women to upskill what they do in the industry so that we can find a lot of women at the top of industry. It is tried learning that women have not gone that high. And so there will be clear-cut policies to ensure that this happens. 1, we'll deal with access to capital. 2, we'll deal with mentoring. The fact that we say there are not too many women at the top means that there are some there anyway. So there'll be a mentoring program that allows them to mentor young entrepreneurs to come up and also scale up. There will also be incentives for industry that have a lot of women or women-led industry. Fortunately, we have the Women Bank coming up. This is also going to cushion women. The Women's Bank basically is a bank that is set up to help women. The beauty of the bank is that only women work in that bank. I keep on saying, to wait. If somebody will beat you to cry, it will not be the same way as you have decided to cry. Women know women's problem. And so all Women's Bank, we know our problems, we know our strength, we know our weaknesses, we know how far we hold our hands and go together. So the implementation of the Women's Bank program will also help women in industry to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, you are entitled to a follow-up question.
Honorable nominee, I didn't hear you touch on the persons with disability. What form of support are they going to get through the informal sector? There are a number of them that I work with, and they're into production of different kinds of things, but they do not have support. So can we hear something on that? Thank you.
The assurance is that they are part of the vulnerable group and there will be policies to bring them up to speed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. I wish to congratulate you once again, and I'm rest assured and sure that you are capable and able to deliver in the ministry that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is appointing you to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the time of Honorable Kojo Oponkuno.
Chairman, thank you. I would like to, on behalf of Pope John Senior High School, congratulate the nominee for some specific reasons. Mr. Ofosu Adjare will be pleased to know this. Chairman, I have just a few questions. My first is on Act 680, the Venture Capital Trust Fund Act, passed in 2004. And the objective of that act is to create a vehicle that the state can use to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem. From about 2009 to even 2024, both the MPP and the NDC have departed from the use of the Venture Capital Trust Fund as a mainstream vehicle and have resorted to other ad hoc vehicles. My question, are you minded to depart from this recent approach and go back to the use of the Venture Capital Trust Fund? And if so, what will you do differently to ensure that it gets the kind of resources required so that it can provide the capital and technical assistance to entrepreneurial ecosystem in this country?
Thank you very much for your question, Honorable Chair. Venture capital, as you have stated, is a trust fund that aids in, that helps in the production of capital to promote small, medium-scale enterprises. It is good, it is still in our law to use them to fund small and medium-scale enterprises. So I think that I'll have a discussion with the Minister for Finance so that a good budget is allotted to the venture capital to enable us to do what it's supposed to do. All the same, other agencies have come up for the funding, and I don't think that we have to stop them for the venture capital to thrive. I'm sure some of them can coexist, and it will mean more funding for these projects. Because interestingly, some of these projects are receiving grants from external donors, and so it's okay to keep them. It's fine to resource venture capital so that we get a lot of diverse source of funding to take care of the agencies.
Chairman, I have a follow-up to that question. The operators in the private equity and the venture capital space argue that they have challenges with getting good pipelines because the average Ghanaian entrepreneur sometimes doesn't want to come into that space. And then they've also got challenges with capacity. Do you have in mind any strategies to help deal with these challenges within that private equity and venture capital space?
I'm excited that your answer is even in your question. They lack capacity building. I have stated in my previous answers that capacity building will be a thing for the ministry. So I'm happy that you are bringing it up. The more it comes up, the more convinced I am that capacity building is a challenge and we should take it seriously. So I thank you for bringing it up again.
Chairman, my second substantive question, with your leave, is got to do with the non-traditional export space. The non-traditional export space is fast growing. It's becoming a major employer within the export space, averaging about 3.1 billion, I think, in the last about 7 years or so. Do you have any strategies in mind to do better than this 3.1 billion average within the non-traditional export space, at least within the next 4 years?
Thank you very much. There is certainly policies to ensure that we do better than this, because that is the advantage we have as a country. Our agriculture is great, and the business side must yield the positive results that we are looking for. It is obvious that most of these companies doing the exports are doing one shift. The 24-hour economy seeks to do one industry, 3 shifts, 3 people. So I can see that with the availability of raw material by our production, we are even going to produce more and export more and increase on this number, because we've done it before. If they are doing 3.1 billion and we are doing 3 times this, I know it will progress steadily. It's not going to happen the next day. The 3 shifts will not happen tomorrow. It will happen eventually. And so when the 3 shift is at full capacity, we are looking at 3 times what we are doing. Or conservatively, let's say we are looking at 2.5 times what we are doing. So if you are able to do the projects, which I'm sure we will do, because I'm soon, Honorable Chair, going to launch the Feed the Industry program. That is going to make sure that we produce more raw materials, availability of same in town, to enable us feed the industry so that we can do better than what we have currently. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. A quick follow-up on this one.
Very well. So let me ask the nominee. He said you will soon be launching a program. That is based on the assumption that you are approved.
Exactly, Honorable Chair. In the likely event that I'm approved, I I'll launch this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So go ahead with your supplementary.
Yeah, Chairman, my follow-up question is to deal with the demand side of the non-traditional export question. If the 24-hour economy is successful, it will deal with the supply side. Do you have any ideas to stimulate demand some more on the non-traditional export side within the international markets?
Extremely grateful for this question, Honorable Chair. Once we produce more, the whole idea is to export. Fortunately for us as a country, there are already trade agreements. I think I've been asked a question on AfCFTA. There is also a trade agreement between the UK and us, a trade agreement between the EU and us. We are going to leverage on these trade agreements to promote our exports. And so we will drive the demand for these products to make sure that we have the needed market for what we produce, even as we do the 24-hour economy. Certainly, the whole idea of providing jobs to our team unemployed youth is this project. And so, as we produce, we are looking for markets, leveraging on the agreements that we have to ensure that our products are exported also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable, you have exhausted your questions. I will give the floor to Kofi Mafo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first question to the nominee. I want us to go back to 1D, 1F. And you mentioned capacity building. And then you mentioned that raw materials are part of the reason why 1D, 1F is not shining. I want to find out from you this aspect of exemption that has been back and forth, about 45 companies looking for exemption within the 1D, 1F. Since 2021, I want to find out if you are giving the nod, what are you going to do about this 1DF exemption?
Thank you very much for that question. I have been briefed that there were a few challenges with the exemptions. Among other things, some of the product that found itself on the exemption list did not qualify. And so when it came up, there was issue of transparency and all of that. When I get the nod, I will look at all of that and come back to Parliament based on what I have seen, what has been corrected, what needs to be done, and I can assure you that the right thing will be done, and the correct things must be done. If we have exemption for A, it must be A and A alone, so that it does not affect our budget negatively. But once we have promised the exemption on a product, I think it is fair and right that we give same. I thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my follow-up. I want to ask this question, and the question is, you indicated that raw materials has been a problem for not only 1D, 1F, but for export manufacturing. So I want to find out from you, when they came in for the exemption, when these companies came in for the exemption, raw materials were taken out completely. But here we are, we lack the raw material to start production. What are you going to do with raw material exemption for this 1D, 1F program?
For starters, I've stated that the production of raw material is key in this country. That gives us lasting solution, and it gives us the advantage of a value chain in our production. We know that if we are even importing more of these raw materials, we are not taking the benefit of the value chain in our production. We need to create jobs with these production of raw materials, and I indicated that when I'm giving the nod, I will launch the Feed the Industry project to ensure that we have these raw materials. When I go into the ministry, I will look at the arguments that have been made, the calculations that have been made, do consultation. Then I'll be able to come up as a lead in a team, what best we can do with the subsidies or the exemption on raw materials. But from here, without any argument, without what happens to our numbers, I'll not be able to say that we should take it off or keep it. But I believe in constructive decisions. I believe in decisions born out of research and consultation. Once this is done, I am sure what comes out will be the best for a country, because we need these raw materials to work. Thank you.
Honorable Nomi, per your manifesto, NDC manifesto, you propose incentives to support the private sector. That is part of your manifesto. Fortunately, you are going to be the trade minister, and the Ofosu government brought in Ghana Enterprises Agency, which is seeking to assist micro, small, and medium enterprises, and then also look at gender issue as well, youth, women, and then person with disability. I want to find out from you, what are you going to do? Are you going to improve on the existing Ghana Enterprises Agency that has been able to sustain over thousands of people within the period that it was formed? Are you going to continue with the program, or you have a special initiative for small, medium enterprises?
Thank you very much. The LI for GE, LI 2470, even deals with micro. And so I think it is a law for Ghana. It's an institution in Ghana. And all we can do is to improve. I don't see anything wrong with it as I sit here. But anything that is being done can be done well, as you have said. And so, for starters, it's a law. It's not the LICA is not being repealed. And so I think that we can continue on that tangent. But you see, it was originally MBSSI. So GA, if you ask me, it's more like a rebranded MBSSI to do good. So it is not something new for us to cancel it. It's been rebranded to do more than MBSSI was doing. And I think that it is fair for us to also improve on this so that we are moving forward as a country. It is for Ghana, and Ghana must always win. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I follow up.
You have a follow-up on this?
Yes, Honor. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, I've done. Yeah. Honorable Nominee, talking about Ghana Enterprises Agencies and the umbrellas that is controlling, I want to find out from you exactly what do you have in mind when we're talking about enterprises agencies. We're talking about micro, small, and medium enterprises. That is the bedrock of our export position. What exactly do you have for micro, small, and medium enterprises?
Thank you very much for realizing that it's umbrella that is controlling it. Please, your answer to the question.
I'll try and answer your question as much as I understand. If you say, what do I have in mind by talking about micro, small, medium scale industries, it's already decided by law. The LI 2470 states what enterprise is micro, what is small, what is medium. It uses the number of staff you have and the capital you have. So if you are talking about micro, we are dealing with about 1 to 3 staff, an amount of 150,000 to I think 3 million. Then small scale is from 3 to I think 30. The law is here. We will do well to resource persons who fall under various categories. And at the end of the day, women again. Because of the affirmative action, we must be conscious of training more women. We must be conscious of giving access to more women in the space of the economy. And so we will continue to do their mandate and even do it better. So thinking about the vulnerable, like the disability, people with disability, to work well with them. Thank you.
Thank you.